Oh, what a pleasure it is to be here at the Noosa Mining Conference and to present on behalf of Horizon Minerals. So we've had a very busy period over the last 6 months. We've secured 2 processing agreements, we've started 2 mines, we've completed a merger in June which secured one of our cornerstone assets called Burbanks, and we've just announced another merger in the coming weeks just past. So this most recent merger with Poseidon Nickel, what it does for us is secure some strategic infrastructure in the goldfields of WA and sets us up for the future. So I look forward to taking you through the proposed transaction and why it's very value accretive for both sets of shareholders. So starting with us, Horizon Minerals, we've got 1.8 million ounces of gold resources in the ground, over 30 million tonnes at better than 1.8 grams a tonne, and over 65% of that is in the higher measured and indicated categories. We've got 1.44 million tonnes of processing agreements in place, so 1.24 million tonnes of that is at the Paddington plant with Norton Goldfields. So we're looking to treat our Barara project at that processing facility. And we've also got a 200,000 tonne allocation at Greenfields Mill, which is owned by a private group called FMR Investments. So we're looking forward to putting our Phyllis Fine processing through that plant in the next year. We've also got an extensive land package on key geological structures, 930 square kilometres, so in a premier mining address in the goldfields of WA. What we don't have is we're relying on third-party infrastructure for processing, and what this deal with Poseidon Nickel does is brings the jewel in the crown as far as my concern is the 2.2 million tonne per annum processing plant at Black Swan, which is located 40 kilometres to north of Kalgoorlie in a great jurisdiction. So Poseidon Nickel, they're mostly nickel guys, but they've got an extensive ground package as well, 380 square k's, largely underexplored for gold. Only 5% of their drilling and their assays has ever looked for gold, so there's enormous upside in the package that they also bring into the merged co stable. So putting the companies together, Horizon 2.0, what it does is we've got in-ground assets without surface infrastructure. They've got surface infrastructure they wish to monetise, so putting the assets together, we can get a run rate of 100,000 ounces per annum gold producer for a period of 5 years plus. Looking at the leadership team, so we're a very hands-on technical board and management team in the areas of mining engineering, geology, metallurgy and corporate finance, and the faces you see on screen, we've got over 150 years of experience in the goldfields of WA. And that's through operations, construction, exploration and resource development. So we're operators and explorers. And I think the team there can not only deliver on this merger, but also on the growth strategy going forward. So the proposed transaction, so it's via a scheme of arrangement where Horizon will acquire all the shares of Poseidon. There's an implied value of Poseidon of $30 million, so that's a 40% premium to the 30-day VWAP on their price prior to announcing the transaction a few weeks ago. So the pro forma ownership will be 70% Horizon shareholders and 30% Poseidon shareholders. At the same time, we announced the merger. We also raised $14 million through a two tranche placement. So we're well cashed up with $14 million in cash and over $7 million in listed investments. It's a pretty good use of funds. $5 million of that is to develop our Barara project for working capital. $2 million is for the Black Swan refurbishment and repurposing that nickel concentrator to a gold plant. We want to put $6 million in the ground, and we've got $2 million for general working cap. So just looking at where we are, you can see our tenements in gold, sort of surrounding the Kalgoorlie and Coolgardie regions in the WA goldfields. The Poseidon 10 is in blue, and you can see the Black Swan plant in red, 40 k's to the north of Kalgoorlie. So all of our infrastructure is in easily truckable distance to that plant. 75% of our assets are within sort of 50 k's of the plant. And our furthest asset's about 85 k's away, but it's the best grade deposit at Burbanks. So we can easily mine and treat at this plant. As I mentioned, we're putting $6 million into the ground over the next couple of years, so 50,000 metres of drilling going into these assets. So pathway to growth, step one is obviously complete the merger with Poseidon And while we're doing that, we're still mining our two assets and making in excess of $40 million of net cash over the next 18 months. The next step is to get the drill bit spinning. We want to hit the ground running next year in the March quarter and start drilling, because we're depleting our resource while we're mining it, and we want to get that 100,000 ounce per annum run rate for a period of at least 5 years for that Black Swan plant, so we need to drill. And while we're doing that, we're also doing the studies. So we've got 9 months of studies to refurbish and repurpose that plant to a gold plant, and in parallel we'll do those mining studies as well. So once we've done that work, about 9 months into next year, we'll make a financial investment decision and then look to refurbish that plant, which will take a 9-month program as well. So where we get to is we're going to run it at about 1.5 million tonnes per annum, 100,000 ounces per year, making really strong cash flows for years to come. So a quick look at the assets. You can see an aerial of Black Swan there. So you can see the large Black Swan open pit, which is a disseminated nickel deposit. You can see the Silver Swan underground there as well. It's a high-grade sulphide deposit. And the tailings dams on the right-hand side of the picture you can see there. So there's probably about 15 months of tailings to go. When they stopped production in 2014 due to a depressed nickel price, they're halfway through doing a tailings lift. So we can finish that off for a couple of $1 million and have in excess of 3 years tailings capacity there. What I really love about this asset, apart from its location, is it's on grid power. So we don't have to build a power station and run diesel or gas. We're going to get very cheap OPEX and cheap power on the grid from a reliable source. And it's also got its own water through its own bore fields and third-party rights issues to access water from other companies. So this plant's in a great location. We should get good cheap OPEX and good production through it. So looking at a simple flow sheet. So the icons you can see at the bottom are the blue icons is the current configuration of the plant. And whether it's a gold plant or it's a nickel plant, the front end's all the same. The crushing and grinding circuits are exactly the same. So a lot of the large components, the heavy civil stuff, the structural steel, the costly items are already there, ready to go. So we're going to build our gold circuit in and around the current flotation circuit at the plant. So we'll build the leach and absorption tanks, we'll build the gold room, a gravity circuit and elution circuit in and around the current infrastructure and purpose it for a gold plant. What this plant does also is gives us optionality. So that grinding circuit's got 2 mills in it. It's got a SAG mill and a ball mill, both rated at 1.1 million tonnes. The ore at Black Swan is extremely hard. It's very, very hard. So the blend that we propose to put through the gold circuit, we only need to refurbish one of those mills and we'll get 1.5 million tonnes per annum through it. So we've already got the other mills sitting in line. If we want to refurbish and upgrade that mill, we can get to 3 million tonnes per annum by simply refurbishing the second mill. The other thing about this asset is, should the nickel price turn, Poseidon have got 422,000 tonnes of nickel assets in the ground that can go through this plant, of course. And we've also got our Nimbus Silver Zinc project, which is a project only 15 minutes drive east of Kalgoorlie. So it's got 20 million ounces of silver and 104,000 tonnes of zinc, which can also go through this plant. So lots and lots of optionality. I think people were scratching their head when a gold company was taking over a nickel company, but what we can do is refit and repurpose this plant for a fraction of the cost of building new. It's already on grid power, it's got everything we need to go, and gives us so many options going forward with our suite of assets. So what are we doing now? We're mining at the moment. So we're mining our Barara project, which is only 20 kilometres to the east of the Super Pit in Kalgoorlie. This project will aim to mine 1.24 million tonnes of ore and mine 46,000 ounces. So it's mining over 14 months and processing over 19 months. And it'll generate $30 million in net cash at a $3,600 gold price, which is obviously further north than that now. We're also mining our Phillips Fine project. So we put an announcement out yesterday. We're making good progress there, mined over 160,000 BCM. So that's a cutback on 2 open pits. Both these projects, they're all de-risked. They've been mined before, they've been treated before. The geotech's known, the resources are known, so it's low risk mining in a great jurisdiction. So between these 2 projects, as I said earlier, we'll make in excess of $40 million over the course of the next 18 months. So looking at our pipeline, so we talked about the assets on the right-hand side. You can sort of see in the brown the Phillips Fine and Barara projects we're mining now. I'd also like to just move to the left a bit and talk about a Cannon project. So it's a small underground development. It's already fully approved. We put the PFS to the market in 2022 and we're dewatering it at the moment. We've almost finished dewatering, so we can turn that asset on whenever we like. Burbanks is a large cornerstone asset. So between Burbanks and Barara, of our 1.8 million ounces, half of the resource book is just in those two assets alone. So between Burbanks and Barara, it can underpin that 5-year mine plan to feed that plant. Penny's Find, we're currently refreshing a PFS on that one as well. We aim to get that to the market this quarter based on some updated drilling and resource updates we've done on that project. That project's also fully approved to develop 11 levels of development and still open at depth. And then our Kalpini project. So we've got ANC consultants currently doing an ore reserve study on those projects. Cut back of 2 existing open pits that are showing really strong cash flows. And we look to get that to market later this quarter as well. So the further you move to the left, our pipeline just grows with our resource base. Probably call out the two on the left, the greater Barara area. So it's our large deposit. We've got 18 kilometres of strike there, largely untested. So we're really looking forward to get some extensions at Barara. And also the Wilson's deposit, which I'll talk about in a bit more as well. So that's one of the assets coming over from the Poseidon merger. So looking at Burbanks, you can see the long section on the right-hand side. This project's generated over 420,000 ounces at a very high grade of 10.2 grams a tonne. This is one of those beautiful assets. The more you drill, the more you find. The last couple of years, there was 10,000 metres put into this asset, and it increased by 190,000 ounces. So we believe this asset can be up to 1 million ounces and can underpin one of those baseload feeds to that plant. You can see the yellow and orange shapes as our resource envelopes. Only 30% of the resource has been drilled to 500 metres depth, so there's enormous potential to grow this resource, not only at depth, infill it, and to the north and south. So a very good asset that we can grow with this business. A little bit about Black Swans. That's more a zoomed out picture of the Black Swan area. The Black Swan guys pivoted and did some exploration on the gold potential. They've done some geochem and soil samples all around their assets around the Black Swan plant. So you can see they've identified 4 anomalies in the last 6 months. The one that really I like is the northern anomaly, and it's not just the hot colours that helps, but there's some historic hits there that are better than 6 grams a tonne. There's a deposit called Wilson's that we're quite excited about. So we want to put the drill bit to work early next quarter and try and discover a nice resource there, because if we do, it's less than 200 metres from that Black Swan plant. Our platform for growth. So we're not the biggest player in the goldfields by any stretch from a market cap perspective, but we do have a dominant land position. So we've got the 3rd largest land holding in the eastern goldfields of WA. Only Northern Star Resources and Ora Banda Mining have more land than we do. And we're about to grow with another 380 square kilometres from the merger. It's very prospective for gold. A lot of our package has only been drilled to 40 or 50 metres, so there's enormous upside in this mature gold belt going forward. And a lot of it hasn't had modern exploration techniques, so we think our 1.8 million ounces can continue to grow. There's also a lot of M&A potential there as well. There's other stranded assets that majors have got in the region that they can't process because the infrastructure is too far away that we can have a look at. And there's a lot of companies like us prior to now that haven't got their own processing infrastructure, so we believe will open the doors for more toll milling and JV opportunities through our processing plant at Black Swan. So just to finish off, we're mining our Barara asset now. We started mining that in August. We built our first 50,000 tonne stockpile. We're just going through a grade determination process with the mill now, and we'll look to start transporting that in the next couple of weeks and produce gold bars in December. We're also mining Phillips Find. We'll look to process 200,000 tonnes from February to June next year. So as I said before, those two assets, $40 million coming in the bank over the next year and a half. We'll get our studies cranking to feed that 5-year pipeline for that mill, and we'll look to refurbish and repurpose that plant 9 months following. So look to turn that plant on around mid-26. So I think there's enormous optionality, there's enormous upside, and I think bringing these assets together is a very value accretive proposition. So if you'd like to know more, come and see us at the booth. Thanks very much.